Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the CruitCast. What is it, a Tuesday, Cole? My week's all messed up because my kids were off school. I'm coming off a spring break, and Texas had football practice early this morning, so my head's spinning. So it is Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it
Tuesday
feels
morning,
the days are
Tuesday
all
all
running
day.
together, especially, with March Madness last week as well.
Yes, dude, that's exactly. So much going on. And we got a bunch of recruiting stuff this week and a
Yeah,
coaches clinic and spring football and March Madness this weekend. Man, it's going to be a crazy weekend. But,
yeah.
well, before we get into some of that stuff, Cole, uh, as obviously that's Cole Patterson. I'm Jason Sukamel. This is the CruitCast. Everybody support our sponsor. You see them up at the top there, Prime Shrimp, 25% off your orders of 5 or more units. When I say units, they come in, there's different flavors. They come in individually packed. They're easy. You drop them in some boiling water for a couple minutes. Boom, you got delicious restaurant grade shrimp. Little to no cleanup. So try all the flavors. There's 5, 6, 7
Oh,
of them. I've lost count, but they're all delicious. So 25% off your order of 5 plus units. Use that promo code Texas25. Also, subscribe to the channel. Like this video, please. That does me and Cole some good if you guys can help us out with that. So, Cole, I want to focus on upcoming recruiting. This weekend on Saturday, Texas will have a junior day. They're going to have some pretty big players, both in state and out of state. We've started to compile our list here. I'm a little, like you said, I'm a little behind. I was out of town late last week at a wedding out of town, out of state. March Madness threw me for a loop, and
yeah.
uh, I got a new smoker over the weekend. So
Oh, there you
don't tell
go.
anybody, but I spent all day Sunday smoking a brisket. So that
Yeah.
sent me back several hours too. So yeah, early birthday present for my parents. Shout
There
out
you go.
mom and dad. They
Yeah.
bought me a new smoker, man. I put it to good work, put it to good use, and put a brisket on there on Sunday. And it turned out pretty good. So,
There you go.
so needless to say, I am a little bit behind on our list, but I've started to compile a list. I started hitting up guys late last week and some this week. We've got a pretty impressive list of guys that we have already confirmed that will be at this junior day. So I'm going to throw out some names, Cole, and we're going to talk about these guys, where we think things are, how we think this weekend could impact things. And I want to start off with a trio out of Duncanville. Katie Dotson, the safety.
Mhm.
We think he's coming in on Friday. Okay. I just sent him a message to confirm is it Friday or Saturday? Because the junior day actually is on Saturday. But he told you at the Under Armour camp he's coming in Friday. So we're working to clarify that. But we're assuming either Friday or Saturday he will be there. Colin Simmons, the number one player in the state, the defensive lineman, he'll be there. Alex January, a defensive tackle. And I want to talk about him. It was interesting because he was going to visit Oklahoma. He'll be in town. I don't know that those guys are coming in together, or certainly not as a package deal, but
Yeah.
we're going to start off talking about them because they're all from the same school. They're all elite players. They're all guys Texas desperately wants. But let's start off with KD Dotson. Cole, I know you talked to him, like I said, at that Under Armour camp a couple weeks ago. Texas will get him, we think, on Thursday, or I'm sorry, excuse me, on Friday or Saturday.
Mhm.
Thoughts on getting him on campus and maybe what kind of move Texas can make there?
Yeah, for sure. He's been a guy, as we mentioned in the past, is always on campus, seemingly for almost every single junior day or summer event or whatever the case is. He's been down for games. He's one of their top guys at safety. They have some other safeties they're in on, as we've mentioned, but he's in that top group. Him and Blake Gideon have a really good relationship. He told me Jeff Banks has really become really involved in his recruitment as of late as well. So he seems to be a priority. He's going to be, like we said, will be in here this weekend, either Friday or Saturday. I do think LSU is probably the biggest competition for him right now. He's not shy about what his feelings are towards LSU. I'll probably have them as a leader. But Texas has a chance to make a move for him. They're also strongly in the mix for Jordan Johnson Rebel and Corian Gibson, two of his pretty good friends. So we'll see what happens there. But just getting on campus, getting around the coaches again, around some of the other players and recruits will be pretty big. Have him in Austin. He's been to other places, but getting him back down in the 40 acres has a chance to give the Longhorns a chance to make some noise in that recruitment.
Yeah, if you're Texas, you almost maybe would prefer he comes in on Friday. Now, I say that, and they have a coaches clinic going on Friday and Saturday. So these coaches are going to be just pulled in 100 different directions. But if you get them on Friday, not at the junior day, you can give them a little more one-on-one attention. Cole, I don't often put in future cast picks for guys that are going to places other than Texas because that's just kind of my focus is on UT. if I did, I'm with you that I'd probably put my future cast on LSU, but maybe Texas can change that this weekend.
Yeah.
And I probably feel the same about Colin Simmons. I mean, right now, if I was putting a future cast in, it would be for LSU. But you know what? This is big, man. Getting him on campus, the number 1 player in the state, number 3 player overall nationally. Communicated with his mom yesterday, and she confirmed, that she and Colin will be there on Saturday for the junior day. So that's a big, big development, obviously. Listen,
Yeah.
he's the number 1 player in the state. I've always thought, since I talked to him, I guess it was last fall, and there was just kind of it was a phone call, but a twinkle in his eye, if you can pick that up over the phone, um, about when he talked about LSU, that I didn't sense about other schools. He's been pretty open about his feelings for LSU, but you know what? Texas is making a charge here. They're getting him on campus. If you get KD Dotson, if you get Alex January, and who knows, maybe you can talk to those 3 about, guys, come here and be a package deal, be a foundation of our defense moving forward. And ultimately, man, listen, Colin's going to have his pick of any school in the country. In the day of NIL, I mean, that can change things. I mean, that can certainly sway things or move the needle at the last minute. But just getting him on campus is obviously a huge development for Texas, correct?
Yeah, for sure. And, even just when I get to talk to him in person, back at the state championship game, which he took over that game, got like 4 sacks, I want to say. I talked to him a little bit down in San Antonio at the All-American game. Every time I talk to him, he always tells me Texas is going to be in that mix, top 10, top 5, maybe even top 3, and if not higher. He says no matter what, Texas will be in that mix because the University of Texas, I think Texas still has that kind of pull for in-state guys. But yeah, just getting him around campus, getting him back on the 40 acres is always huge. He's a 5-star player. I believe he's number 3 in the Rivals rankings, somewhere in that top 5. Number 3, I believe.
3,
number 1 in Texas, number 1 in his position. Like I said, he's shown the ability to take over games. He's a guy that really can make a difference from day one. You just get him in the program. He has the NFL ceiling, that potential that you really want in defensive end. But yeah, LSU seems to be really high up there. I know he likes, Georgia, Alabama, those kind of schools as well. But just getting him back on campus. I know Kadavian Dotson also mentioned to me that, multiple teams, especially LSU and Texas, have pitched them being a bit of a package deal, coming together. They've shown what they can do together on defense at Duncanville. Maybe they can do that on the next level. So I'm sure that'll be part of the pitch for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, everybody in the country would do anything to land Colin Simmons, but I mean, Texas really has that need for that just no-brainer, going to be a success story defensive edge rusher. Colin Simmons fits that bill, and Texas really has a need for that guy. I mentioned Alex January, the defensive tackle out of Duncanville. This one's really interesting to me, Cole. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but he was originally scheduled to visit Oklahoma on Saturday. Bo Davis reached out last week, I think it was, talked to the family and said, hey, we'd love to get you down in Austin. And the family kind of talked about things, and then it was confirmed to me on Monday, maybe Sunday, that he will in fact be coming to Texas. Again, man, Texas has a real need at interior defensive line. Alex January still looking at about 8 schools, last I was told, and we'll get some more information following this weekend. I don't think this is a slam dunk for Texas. I mean, a lot of people think it is just because his dad played at Texas, and I talked to people close to Alex, and I do get the feeling he and his family, they're going to do their due diligence. They're going to take their visits. They're going to really be thorough in the way they go through this process. But, it's a small chip on the side of the scale for Texas, the fact that he was going to be at Oklahoma. He's now going to visit Texas on Saturday. I think he's still coming for the spring game. So good development for Texas, another key player at another need position. So we'll see how things transpire with those 3 coming out of the weekend. Cole, let me go down my list here. We don't have to spend a lot of time, but there was a Rivals 100 running back out of Florida, Tavion Swint. He'll be in Austin this weekend. Some really good offensive linemen. Blake Frazier from Vandergrift here in Austin, Daniel Cruz, North Richland Hills, arguably one of the top interior line prospects Texas is going after. Kyle Flood really likes him at center. Ori Williams told us he'll be here. So got to feel pretty good, I think, about Cruz and Ori Williams. Frazier's just coming off of a Michigan visit. His dad played at Michigan. They may be tough to beat, but your thoughts on that offensive line group coming in?
Yeah. No, just getting Blake Frazier back on campus. He was there in January. Like you said, connections to Michigan might be hard to beat. He was just up there, but never hurts to get that guy back on campus, especially considering he's right in town. Not too far away from the 40 acres. And then, as you mentioned, Daniel Cruz, a guy that really his whole staff has zeroed in on. Probably is their top offensive lineman, if not. I mean, he's at least their top interior offensive lineman. I think that's kind of been established. He told us both at Under Armour that he's going to visit multiple times to Texas, taking OV to Texas. We both put in predictions for Texas. So things are trending pretty well there. Not sure if that pops this weekend because he said he wants to wait, but still something to watch. Just getting him back on campus and kind of around the coaches is always pretty big.
Yeah, I don't think Daniel says he wants to wait for a while.
Yeah.
Sorry, dude, I'm multitask here. Wants to wait for a while, probably after this late in the summer, Daniel Cruz, before he makes a decision. But we've both got our future cast in for Texas. I feel pretty good there.
For sure.
I have not put in a future cast for Ori Williams, and I'm looking. Nobody has in terms of Rivals publishers or recruiting writers. But man, if I'm picking right now, it's probably Texas. I mean, I don't think there's been a recruiting event that he hasn't shown up to. So, Ori's an intriguing prospect, 6'8", 310 plus pounds, really good athleticism as an offensive tackle. Cole, let's move to tight end. This one's interesting on a few different levels. Reiner Swanson is a guy that I wrote about on Orange Bloods a few weeks ago. He's out of Laguna Beach, California. So I mentioned selfishly, I hope he commits to Texas because then I have an excuse to go to Laguna Beach to go see him play. But he'll be in town this weekend. He's got a bunch of other visits coming up. I don't even remember where all he's going. I know there's going to be like Auburn and I think Georgia, some schools on the East Coast. BYU is a major player there. Interestingly, I didn't know this, but Adam Gorney from Rivals.com had a story on him. His plan is to go to college for 1 year and then take a break for a Mormon mission. So interesting kind of scenario there. Really good player, but he's probably not a guy that's going to come in and be an early impact player for you. But, really talented tight end prospect. He'll be in town this weekend. Let's switch over to defensive line. Lots of names here. We talked about Colin Simmons. We talked about Alex January. Nigel Smith, Rivals 100 defensive end out of Melissa, will be in town. Terrence Hibbler, Rivals 100 defensive tackle out of Mississippi, is going to be in town. Looking at my list here, Cameron Beavers, another defensive tackle out of Mississippi, is going to be here. He's a Rivals 250 guy. So, Bo Davis, as we've seen Bo Davis do before, Cole, he kind of throws out a lot of numbers at some of these top guys, and then he kind of filters through like, okay, this guy's genuinely interested, this guy's not, maybe this guy is, and then he kind of pairs it down from there. But you got two guys from Mississippi, both really good players, in addition to Nigel Smith, one of the top players in the state of Texas, in addition to the two Duncanville guys we already talked about. So I would say as much as any position at this junior day, defensive line is going to be front and center.
For sure. And I think it has to be, we've talked so much about the offensive line that Kyle Flood is building. Bo Davis has some pretty good recruiting wins on the defensive line, but continuing to stack up there, bolster the trenches. We keep talking about the SEC, but that's important once you get to the SEC, the line of scrimmage. If you can take advantage of that move, to the Southeastern Conference and pull a guy or two from Mississippi, they did a couple years ago there in Bryant, and they've kind of expanded the footprint there. But if you can pull in one of these two guys, a 4-star prospects, that could go a long way.
Yeah, that'd be huge. And I didn't even mention Dylan Battles, a 2025 guy to Mansfield Timberville. He's got a Texas offer, A&M, Michigan, Miami. So, really talented player. So, Ty Anthony Smith, the linebacker from Jasper, told us he'll be in town. Need to follow up with him, but he's a guy that Texas has been kind of, let's say hot and cold, but Texas has been way up here and then maybe down but a little bit below and kind of back and forth. Texas A&M has really surged there, but I look for Texas to make a move if he winds up showing up. And again, I'll follow up with him. We'll have more on Orange Bloods later in the week. But if he shows up, if Texas really pushes there, I think Texas can make a surge there. Couple guys, Selman Bridges, the defensive back from Lake Belton. Cole, I talked to him at the Under Armour deal, Under Armour camp. He'll be in town. He's a guy I thought it was interesting. The most interesting thing I thought when I talked to Selman Bridges he's pretty open. He's not really narrowing his focus down. But listen, he's visiting Texas. He said Sark reaches out to him pretty much every single night. Steve Sarkisian does. So to me, that tells you, hey, Texas is making him a priority target. He's from Belton.
why.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I tell you, that Under Armour camp, dude, like really good defensive back group up there. But like we kind of, I think we mentioned last week, you see him lined up, and then Selman Bridges, that line goes like this. He's like 4 inches taller than everybody else, man. Big, long, really lanky cornerback. Yeah, that can really bring some versatility there. A guy that I've listed as an athlete, Cole.
Yeah.
Is Hunter Modden, the Texas commitment. He originally committed as a wide receiver. I talked to him a couple weeks ago. He hadn't really heard from Chris Jackson, the new receivers coach, but now he's saying, hey, I might want to play defense. LSU is working to get him in as a defensive back. He's kind of told me like he might favor playing defense, but he is going to be at the junior day this weekend. So we should have a better answer to that coming out of the weekend. Does he spend time with Blake Gideon? Does he spend time with Chris Jackson? Does he spend time with both of them? I don't know. Maybe they just bring him as an athlete and see. But, he's a guy that he visited LSU in January. He still wants to take some other visits. So getting him on campus for Texas is a big development. And then one more, Cole, and we're on a bit of a time schedule here, but we got a few minutes left here. Jalen Lott, a guy that I know you talked to recently, a guy that you love. 2026 is a young pup out of Lucas Lovejoy. But talk to us about Jalen Lott.
Yeah, he's a guy that everybody at Lovejoy keeps telling me, even dating back to last year, keep telling me that he's going to be the best to come out of there in quite some time. That includes Kyle Parker that went to LSU, Parker Livingston, Peyton Pierce, and they all say the same things. And he's a really good athlete, 3-sport guy, basketball and track as well. His dad, obviously James Lott, was a fantastic track athlete. He played DB at Texas. But yeah, Texas hasn't offered yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if that happens soon, especially if he does. He's supposed to be visiting on Saturdays. Assuming that happens, I'm not sure if that happens. The offer comes this weekend, or if they want to wait and see him in camp, or whatever happens. But he's a guy that has everybody excited. He's going to check out Notre Dame and Baylor. Baylor's already offered him. SMU's already offered him. But it's a really good athlete, really good player. He's going to be playing varsity for the first time this upcoming season. He had to sit out because of transfer, all of that last year, but really good player that you want to become familiar with. Had a chance to talk to him at Lovejoy. Had to talk to him again at the Under Armour camp. So yeah, 2026 far ways away, but it's going to sneak up on us. We're already talking about the 2025 class. The 2026 class can be here before we know it, and he's a guy that you need to know about.
Yeah, exactly, man. Like these, I say weeks and days blend together. Sometimes so do the years, man. This clock keeps ticking faster. But I don't know if Texas will offer him this weekend. It wouldn't surprise me. But it could be one of those deals, Cole, where it's like, hey, dude, you're going to get your offer.
Yeah.
But Texas kind of has had a philosophy like, we need to see you play varsity first. That was a hard rule under Tom Herman. Not as much under this staff, but I'll tell you another guy they did that to, Denver Harris, right? One of the best players in the country in his class. They're like, dude, we're going to offer you. You show up to this camp, but we can't do it yet until. And literally, I think the day he played his first game, he got an offer. So Jalen Lott might fall in that category. He's going to get an offer, whether it's this weekend or later down the road. We'll see. But Cole, you and I were talking before we started recording this. We're going to really hit the phones and instant or direct messages and everything else. Try to build out this list. We got some other guys on there, but we'll continue to round out this list. We'll have a full preview on Orange Bloods in the War Room on Thursday. We'll continue to add to this list throughout the week. Guys like Freddie DeBose. I didn't mention. There's a couple other guys on here that I didn't even mention. So, Dozie Ezukanma, is that his name? The wide receiver out of Fort Worth All Saints, who has a lot of offers. So, quite a few other guys. And this list will undoubtedly grow 2024, 2025s, and 2026s. More importantly, Cole, you and I will be out there on Saturday, just kind of hovering around, and we'll get some pictures and we'll get some interviews. We'll have updates on all these guys on Orange Bloods, and then we'll have quite a bit to talk about next week on this CruitCast. So with that note, we're going to put a wrap on this one. We both have priorities we need to get to. I want to thank Blake, our guy behind the scenes producing this. Cole, of course, thank you. Thank you to Prime Shrimp, our sponsor, been around for a while, loyal sponsor, so please support them. Use that promo code Texas25 for 25% off your first order or your order of 5 units or more. And also do us a favor, like the channel, or like the video, subscribe to the channel, do all those things that help spread the word about this CruitCast and our Orange Bloods YouTube channel. So that's it for today. Everybody have a great week. Be safe, take care, and we will come back next week to talk to you again. Take care.